Hey y'all, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing some more fun summer recipes. Any of these would be perfect for the 4th of July that's coming up. If you're having company over or if you're going to a cookout, I figured this video could be helpful. So first up, I'm going to be sharing my potato salad recipe. I shared it last summer and I just had to share it again because if there is one thing I am confident in, it is my potato salad. It is so good. So I start off with around 2 pounds of potatoes. I always do russet potatoes, but the grocery store was out. So these are Idaho potatoes, which I'm pretty sure they're the same thing. That's what everyone says. I don't know why they label them differently. If any of y'all know, feel free to leave it in the comments. But I just peel those potatoes, wash them, and cut them into bite-sized pieces. I put them in a large pot, covered them with water, and I like to add a good amount of salt. Potatoes absorb salt a lot better while it's cooking versus after. So I bring that up to a boil, and I let it boil by itself for a few minutes. And then I'm going to start dropping in my eggs to hard boil them in with the potatoes. I like to do 5 eggs, and I let those cook for 13 minutes. When the 13 minutes is up, I'm going to take them out and put them in a bowl of ice water. That is going to stop the cooking so those eggs don't become overcooked, and it's also going to make them a lot easier to peel. These work out perfectly for me every single time. Then I'm going to drain off my potatoes, grab my bowl that I'm going to serve the potato salad out of, and start adding in my Duke's mayo. I don't measure anything for this, but I like to say like a heaping cup of mayo. I like to grab some just regular yellow mustard and do about a heaping tablespoon. And then I'm going to do some dill relish. Now, usually I do use a little bit more than this, but this is all I had on hand. I was just trying to get everything out of that bottle. And if I don't have relish, sometimes I'll just chop up any type of pickle that is open in the fridge. But for me, it's got to be dill. I do not like sweet relish. I don't like anything sweet in my potato salad. So that's a big thing for me. I also do a good splash of dill pickle juice, and I just give everything a good mix. And then I've been doing this little trick pretty much as long as I've been in the kitchen. I grab a cooling rack, put it over my bowl, and I'm going to take those peeled eggs, place it on there, and just take the palm of my hand to kind of smash those down in there. It chops those eggs up so quick, and not that it really matters, but it makes them all the same size. And then I'm going to add my drained potatoes to the bowl. I let those cool down before adding them, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But I season the potatoes with salt, pepper, and onion powder. And if you watch my videos, you know I love the Salad Supreme. It's not just for pasta salad. It's good in a lot of different things, and I really love it in this potato salad. I don't add too much because I don't want to make it overly salty. But as you can see, I'm just folding everything together with my spatula. And as you can see, this is like chunky and the potatoes are holding their shape. That is why I cool the potatoes down. If you don't, it'll turn to like mashed potatoes. So I know some people have a preference there, but this is how I like mine. And then lastly, I just top it with some paprika. I'm getting my bowl covered tightly with some cling wrap, and I'm just going to set that in the fridge. The longer that it sits, the better it's going to be, but it's still really good like as soon as you whip it up. But it just has the best consistency. It's definitely not dry or anything like that. I promise y'all, this potato salad will not disappoint. It's one of my favorite recipes, and it's my favorite thing at a cookout. Next up, I'm trying out a new recipe for baked beans. I've never had it this way, and it calls for 1 pound of hot breakfast sausage and a pound of ground beef, but I decided to just do the sausage and just leave out the ground beef. The sausage is all I had thawed out in the fridge anyways, but I have never heard of sausage being in baked beans. I thought that was so interesting. But here lately, I have noticed that it is just easiest to like break up the sausage with your hands. And then when it's like halfway cooked through, that's when I go in with my little meat chopper. That way that sausage isn't like sticking to the utensil, and it just crumbles up a whole lot easier. But once I got that fully cooked through, I'm going to drain off the grease with some paper towels. And typically, my sausage doesn't put out this much grease. This put out so much grease. I don't know what was going on there. I always buy that sausage, but we got that out of there. And then I went in and seasoned it with some salt, black pepper, and plenty of onion powder. Now you want to grab your favorite barbecue sauce and add in about 3/4 of a cup of it, as well as 3/4 of a cup of ketchup, a half a cup of brown sugar, At this point, I decided to go in and give it a stir before adding in the seasonings because I was afraid of scorching that sausage on the bottom. These Dutch ovens cook so hot, hotter than what I'm used to. But now I'm going to add in a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of chili powder, and a teaspoon of garlic powder. I got that blended in well, and then these are the beans that I'm going to be using. It's two 28-ounce cans of pork and beans, specifically the Van Camp, because that is what my family always uses when making homemade baked beans. So that's what I like to buy, and they're cheap, which is a plus. But I drained off a lot of the liquid before dumping those in there, and then I switched on over to a soft spatula just to fold everything together. I didn't want to mash the beans up or anything, and you can cook these uncovered, but I did cover mine up, and I let it cook on about a medium-low heat for 30 minutes. And this is what it looks like when it's done. As it cools down, it thickens up even more, which I love. Really like the sausage in it, and it was just sweet and savory. The perfect side dish. It's definitely a keeper. Up next, I'm going to be making a fruit pizza, and I'm going to decorate it like the flag. So it's the perfect 4th of July dessert, and it's just super easy and fun. So I have a cookie sheet out. I've covered it with some tin foil, and I sprayed it with some nonstick cooking spray. I grabbed a roll of sugar cookie dough. I always see it at Walmart. I'm sure most grocery stores carry it, and you want to make it into one big cookie. You want it to fit this cookie sheet. So I figured the best way to do that would be to just break it off into chunks and place it all around the cookie sheet, kind of like you would do if you were making actual cookies, and then press it out, and that definitely helped a ton. It didn't take me long at all to do this, so I'm going to pop that in the oven at 350 for 15 minutes, and while that's baking, I'm going to go ahead and make the frosting. So that's just 1 block of cream cheese at room temperature, 1 cup of powdered sugar, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and I'm just going to mix that together using my handheld electric mixer. I like to start it off slow until the sugar gets incorporated, and then I'll bump it up, and you just want to beat it until it's really nice and smooth, no lumps, and as you can see, it's the perfect consistency. It's a really good icing. I also went ahead and washed my fruit, so we got some blueberries and strawberries. I like to put those in my salad spinner, and I fill it up with water, and I add a good splash of vinegar and just let it soak for a bit, and then I'll pull out the basket and rinse it off just to make sure there's no vinegar like left on it. And then I dried all the fruit really good, and all I have to do is slice these strawberries. I know there's like a utensil you can get to slice those quicker. Maybe I'll get it one day, but it really don't take too long to slice the strawberries. But now that that cookie has come out of the oven, I let it cool down completely before icing it. And the way I like to ice stuff is I just dump everything out in the middle, and then I'll just take my spatula and work it all the way around, rotating that cookie sheet as many times as I need to until it looks like this. But now I can go ahead and start decorating it with the blueberries and the strawberries. Now that I got all the fruit added, all I have left to do is grab a can of whipped cream and fill in all the spaces. So I started off by kind of dotting it in there, and then I eventually switched to just running it down in a line, and it doesn't look perfect, but I'm still really happy with the way that it came out. It was pretty quick to throw together and easy, as you can tell, and I wanted to show y'all how I cut it into serving pieces in case you were wondering. I know sometimes it can be hard to cut stuff when it's like in a little cookie sheet, but since I did the tinfoil the way that I did, all I had to do was lift it out of there and put it on a cutting board, and I use a pizza cutter to cut it into little pieces. But this was so good. We all loved it. I'm going to show y'all another dessert option. These are going to be some Patriotic mini cheesecakes. You need 2 blocks of room temperature cream cheese, and I'm using the name brand because Kroger had a really good sale on those. They were $1.99 a block, and if you buy a lot of cream cheese, you know that's good, especially for Philadelphia. So I stocked up. But to my mixing bowl, I'm going to also add in a 1/2 cup of just regular granulated sugar, and I eyeballed about a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. So once again, I've got my handheld mixer out, and I'm just just going to cream that until it is nice and smooth. I did crack in 2 large eggs to a separate bowl, and I like to do that because I don't want any accidental eggshells in my cheesecake batter. That would be awful. But I just added those in one at a time, making sure to mix it in as I added it in. So I picked up these sprinkles at Walmart. As you can see, it's like got different options in there. There was 2 that caught my eye. So this first one is what I'm going to use inside the cheesecakes, and then this second one I'm going to put on top. So I wanted about 2 tablespoons of those sprinkles inside. It was kind of hard to measure that out. They were flying everywhere no matter what I did, but roughly 2 tablespoons, and then I just folded that on into the batter. Looks nice and festive. Let's scoot that on over. I've already got my cupcake pan ready. I got these little silicone liners in there. I bought those for my kids' lunchbox, but I don't believe I've ever baked in them until this, and they worked really good. You'll also need some of these golden Oreo cookies. This is going to be the crust for the little cheesecakes. I've never done that before, and I just thought that was an awesome idea and very, very easy. So just obviously 1 per liner, and make sure you get the regular Oreos, not the double stuffed or anything. And then I just pulled out my large cookie scoop, and that's how I'm going to get the cheesecake into each individual little cup. So this is a great mess-free, quick way to do it. And then lastly, I'm just going to top it with those sprinkles. I started by kind of pinching it in there. Again, try not to make a mess, but I still did. So really the best way is to just take the bottle and shake it all over the top. But that's going to go in the oven at 350 for 15 minutes. And then I let those completely cool down before I transfer those to these little containers that has lids, and that's going to go in the fridge for 2 hours. Also, if you didn't catch it, I did have enough batter to make a few extra, so it's more than just the dozen. And I did have the recipe also. I am going to link the recipe in my description box, so I just wanted to let y'all know I did have that. But these popped out of those silicone liners perfectly. I was super pleased with that. I'm putting it on this little tiered tray. I've shown it before. I got it from Walmart. I will link it if I can find it on the app. I really love mine, and I think it was like a little less than $14, and you can use it for so many things. I just love it. But yeah, back to the cheesecakes. I think that these came out so cute. They are so festive and fun. They were really easy to make, and every one of us just absolutely love them. They are delicious, and I really like the addition of the Oreo. So I'm definitely going to save this recipe, and I'm just going to change out the sprinkles and the cookie depending on the holiday or the occasion that I want to make them for. I cannot wait to recreate these for Halloween, so I highly, highly recommend these. Lastly, I'm going to be making some homemade lemonade for the first time. I don't know why I've never done this before. It was so simple. So I started off with about 4 good-sized lemons, and I just rolled those around with my hands. I've always heard if you do that, you'll get the most juice out of them. And then I just cut those in half. And I'm going to be using this little $10 KitchenAid juicer. I believe I got it at Walmart. It's really handy. Anything you got will work, but I do like this one. As you can see, it catches the seeds. It removes most of the pulp, but it leaves a little bit in there, which I actually like. And basically, you need about 1 cup of the fresh lemon juice, and these 4 lemons gave me that exact amount, which I thought was awesome since that's all I had. And to my pitcher, I'm going to add in 1.5 cups of sugar, and I'm going to add in 1 cup of hot water to dissolve that. Now, I feel like it was a little bit too sweet, but that's also coming from someone that doesn't have like regular sugar drinks hardly ever. I'm used to drinking, like, if I do have pop, it's usually a diet soda, so it's different. So I don't know if it's just me thinking it's too sweet. I also don't have lemonade that often, so again, it might just be me. But to that, I added in the lemon juice, and then I'm going to pour in 4 cups of cold water. You stir all that together, and that is all there is to it. Super easy. I did end up transferring it to a smaller container. That one was too big. I don't have like a nice normal size glass container, so this worked. What didn't fit in there, I just poured into my cup. But that's going to go in the fridge here in a bit. But yes, I like any drink in a wine cup. I don't care what it is. But even though I feel like it was a little bit too sweet, I'd probably cut it back next time. We all really enjoyed it. Really refreshing and just something different. But that's going to wrap up the video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.